what made DC different? And again, we're gonna have folks answer the question in alphabetical order. So we're gonna start with Councilmember Catania.
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me, Michael. And I want to thank Michael for his leadership heading DC for Marriage. You know, this was many hands make light lifting, and that was certainly the case with our victory here on behalf of marriage equality. Michael's work is certainly, you know, appreciated, recognized, and extraordinarily valued. So I want to thank you. And I also have to say, as an alumni of this university, you know, it's incredible. I was thinking this morning that I was coming to Georgetown. And so, you know, and I started doing the math, and I was horrified to realize that I graduated 20 years ago. I mean, you know, I'm one of those old people now. It's frightening. It's really, I mean, it's almost apocalyptic. I didn't quite fall on the ground and start to cry, but it was really touch and go for a minute. But 20 years ago, I mean, it was a very different era here, as many of you can imagine. And the fact that, you know, the university has evolved so terrifically over the last 20 years is just incredible as an alumni. It makes me prouder and prouder. I've always been proud of this university, but prouder by the day as it grows in its acceptance and tolerance and appreciation for the wider community of LGBT members. Now, to answer Michael's point, you know, we are lucky to live in the District of Columbia. And we're lucky because there is a long and rich tradition of social justice and appreciation for the rights of minorities. We are a majority minority city. And so when we started reaching out to our communities of faith, we actually found very fertile ground. And by the end of the marriage equality battle, we had over 200 ministers and members of the clergy who were signed on in favor of marriage equality and were willing to put their names and their congregations out there on behalf of it. In fact, the majority of the people who testified at our 2 days of hearings on the subject last fall from the faith community testified in support of it. An additional aside, they really had to, the opponents of marriage equality couldn't find authentic religious figures in the city because we're just not a fertile ground for intolerance. You know, there's one or here or there, right? But mainstream, the mainstream, you know, religious community in the city embraced marriage equality, were willing to testify in support of it, and we really had to import our intolerance, to be honest. I mean, it had to come in the form of a gentleman from a neighboring county, and I'm, you know, I mean, I'm sure he has those strongly held convictions, but it wasn't someone among us. He actually had to move into the city to begin his efforts to undermine what we do here. And it actually, can I tell you, worked out to our advantage, because there's one thing about Washington is we are not keen on outsiders coming here and telling us how to organize ourselves. We have quite a lot of interference from Congress, thank you very much, and we needn't have members, right? We needn't have people from outside of the city coming here and telling us how to organize ourselves. And so, you know, I'm very proud of our religious community. In fact, I'm going to be meeting soon with a couple of our leaders who were helpful in our successful effort to express appreciation and more importantly, to continue the dialogue between the city and our faith community on these issues and others. And as Michael, I'm over my 2 minutes. As he mentioned, unfortunately, I do have an appointment at 1:30 on the other side of the city on Southern Avenue. I chair the Council's Committee on Health. I'm at a very pressing meeting on one of our safety net hospitals that's currently undergoing some financial issues. So you'll pardon me if I do leave a little early, but I wanted to thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.